Morning to the good Congressman, former Congressman Gregg Harper. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Paul. Great to be with you again.
When you heard this, and apparently it was Nancy Pelosi's daughter who recorded this and for some ungodly reason let it go. But for people who haven't heard this, and the reason I wanted to start off with this one is because you were in the chamber on January 6th.
Right. Yeah, I was there minding my own business. That's crazy.
Well, minding the people's business for the most part, too.
Yeah.
So here's the way it's said. She dashes out through some door, and I'm sure it wasn't the front door, and she gets in the vehicle with her driver and with her chief of staff, Miss Terry McCullough, and she's frantic. And here it goes.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
That is not a question of how they had. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more. We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability.
Yeah, and I think she kind of admitted that right there.
Yeah, I mean, this is stunning, and it absolutely is her responsibility. And what happened was just horrible. The optics for the world to see this, but it was preventable and it was predictable. And for her to act like, to in that recording admit it was her responsibility is sure contrary to their narrative and for what they put forth. And it never should have happened. And of course, I know the sergeant at arms who was let go, within 24 hours of this happening.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have gone to the bathroom without Nancy Pelosi's, permission. So for her, the one thing that really surprises me in that recording is that she acts like she didn't know, which is really a shock. Does that mean it was handled at staffer levels below her and she wasn't, briefed on it? But it wasn't a difficult thing to have had the National Guard in place or the D.C. police to have offered assistance. You go back, you just makes you sweat just to see the video of people scaling the Capitol and to know that it could have been prevented. It's just, I'm shocked to hear that recording.
It sounds like I'm trying to write a script for a Liam Neeson movie or something like that. But even if you were the deep state said what we're going to do is so diabolical. And we've got this whole thing together as far as the people we're going to implant on this. The whole reason to do this is at the end of it is what it manifested itself to be. And she may not go along with all of this. So let's tell her what she needs to know. I just feel like maybe there's some of that in there.
Well, yeah, that's certainly what it sounds like, doesn't it, Paul? But I would say she is the Speaker of the House, after the VP, next in line for the president.
She's definitely, the buck stops at her desk. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, how could she not know? How could she not know about what's going on and be briefed and plan, well, what happens if this happens? Do we need more? It's almost like she never had the discussion with anybody about adding security. And I think it really blows up the narrative that they created since January 6th of 2021.
Well, after that, she places a call immediately to MSNBC, and she says, whatever you got booked, cancel it because I want to come on.
Why do you think this is stirred up and a brouhaha on the right and in some corners of the media today?
Well, because of the fact is that the President of the United States, the former president, and his toadies do not want to face the facts. They're trying to do revisionist history on January 6th. But we cannot let us be dragged into their, again, false impression of what happened that day. They know what happened that day. They know how serious it is and was. and continues to have an impact on our country. And yet they want to call the people who were in there hostages. And yet this president who incited, this former president who incited this insurrection would not send the National Guard for hours. People were harmed.
This is last night now. How do you do that? How do you save any face of credibility at all?
You just have to say, have you no shame? I mean, it's just, you know, and I was also the Republican House tally clerk in 2017, and she did everything in her power on the floor to stop the certification of the election in 2017 for Donald Trump. And, you know, it's just, you know, I mean, what do you say? We hope we can educate people, and people are smart enough to realize, you know, what a joke.
Greg, let me ask you this. I mean, you saw it in living color. There's a juxtaposition from what we have seen and they wanted us to see, all produced by an ABC producer to help things out with the music, making sure the music behind it was dramatic in some places, almost like a prepared script. And then we've seen others where you've got uniformed guys that come on in, yes, here, you do this. Did you see that juxtaposition there also, or did you see only one side of it?
You know, and of course, I'm in the House chamber when this is going down, and the Capitol Police and Sergeant at Arms officers come in, bolt all the doors. We stay there for a while, and then you hear breaking of glass and other noise, and then they realize they can't hold the position, so they start getting us out of the House chamber, down a secure elevator to the tunnels to get over to the House side in one of the House buildings. So, you know, as you know, it's not really. Look, people shouldn't have been in there, and they kind of got this group mentality. Oh, we'll just all go in. It'll be like a field day gone bad, and it was just I never was afraid. There were many that were afraid, obviously. But was never personally threatened or in danger. And I think that at this point, look, propaganda is not a new tool. It's been used for as long as there's been the ability to speak and setting that narrative. And so that's really what they've got. They've got a great messaging and narrative machine here set up. And that's what they do. And they keep generating, they keep saying it. And you repeat it often enough, and nobody ever challenges it.
Absolutely.
But this certainly makes you go back to it.
Let me turn the attention to this. What happens now? Because there are still a lot of people, I'm inclusive of that I cannot believe that this guy's going to be the nominee as far as Joe Biden is concerned. Something's going to come up. Something's going to happen. Something's going to rock the front pages. I'm not sure what it is. I don't think a pandemic is going to work. I think they understand that. They've ruined that. Getting rid of Donald Trump is not going to work. He's withstood all of this. What happens if, and when does it happen, if it's going to happen? You're going to be a delegate at the National Convention in Milwaukee?
That's right. I'll be there. It'll be my seventh time to be a delegate from Mississippi, and it's always just an incredible historic time. So I'm looking forward to that. And it'll be a great trip. But when you talk about Biden and where he is right now, Paul, it's as you're beginning to see that wall crack a little bit about where he is, and and some on the left in the media are beginning to question him publicly. Now that's a sign that they've left their options open. The fact that they've got a debate scheduled before either convention is really kind of bizarre.
Yes,
and
I want to ask you about that.
Yeah.
But hold on. We got a break coming up. I want to ask you what the scheduling date of that says about this, what people want to see out of this, and why is it scheduled at this particular date? It's June the what? It's toward the end of this month, isn't it?
That's right. It's later in June.
Later in June,
almost
find out.
Almost 2 months. Almost 2 months before their convention.
What's the date of the convention in Milwaukee?
That is July 15th through the 18th. July 15th through the 18th. Right. The Democratic Convention is August 19th through the 22nd.
Got it. Back with more coming up next. For the June 27th, is that when it's supposed to be, June 20th? Yes, a Thursday. It's going to be a Thursday. Presidential debate. That's the song that's going to lead in Joe Biden when he comes on stage. James Brown, get up off that thing. So I'm not sure what he's going to be hyped up with, but Red Bull is probably going to have a record sale that week or something. It is amazing when you compare him with the every single day and events like that.
Yeah, look, Paul, this is having it set that I really believe it's his final audition, and can he survive? So I view it as his final audition, and that keeps the Democratic convention is not quite 2 months out from there. That gives him time to plot their strategy and see what's there. A lot of folks believe that it's just too late to make a change at this point in the game, and it really probably is. But I wouldn't rule anything out on their end at this point. It's just
but
subject.
Greg, how does Kamala figure in here? Now, what happens with her? Because, I mean, there are very few people out there you could say you're stepping from bad to worse. But in this particular case, and I think it's a testament, really, to the record-breaking Guinness Book of World Records ability of Joe Biden to fail at everything. And one of the biggest was even failing at the person he picked as vice president. And he did a wonderful job at failing at that one. So what happens to her?
Yeah. Well, if something happened and Joe wound up not being the nominee, I would say she remains as vice president and they put a new top pick in. That would be probably the easiest lift to do. I just don't think anybody believes she's, up to the challenge of being, president of the United States. Certainly her performance has been as bad or almost as bad as his.
Yeah. If they thought she was going to be a drag on whomever they decided to pick, you think they could convince her also to step down?
I don't know. There's so many ramifications. I don't believe they can uninvite her. At this point, I think if he decides to step down, there will be a push by her and her allies to make her the nominee for president. I don't think that will happen. If something happens at the convention, it'll all be orchestrated, Paul.
Just personally, I don't know if she'd want it. I really don't. I think she is lost in what she's doing, and I don't think she wants it. As a matter of fact, I just feel like if she got a chance to get out of the VP of the next go-around, she'd probably take that.
She might. But look, this was the person in charge of the border, Paul. So if you love the job she's done down there, then she'll be in that situation. So it's
she solved the border like Joe Biden solved cancer.
It's horrible.
All right, on the other side, the Donald Trump is going to make his announcement during the convention itself. Who do you think the top three are right now?
I mean, there's obviously a lot of folks that are out there. He's still playing it kind of tough. He really likes the governor of North Dakota a lot. Doug Burgum, who's just so quiet. I don't know that he makes it, but I would not rule out Tim Scott or Marco Rubio or even Governor Glenn Youngkin from Virginia. Now that the polling data is showing that Virginia is now kind of a push, you could see that taking place as well.
You think Governor Noem's out as far as Dakota is concerned?
I could say that dog won't hunt, but that wouldn't be appropriate probably as we discuss her. But in fact, that dog won't do anything. So no, there's nothing worse than a self-inflicted injury, and her book just ended any chance that she's going to be considered. I believe. I just don't see that.
It is amazing. Yeah.
Hey, Elise Stefanik from New York, sharp young lady, who has really been a favor to Trump. But he's loves the dramatic and the flair, and to not announce this until the convention is probably a pretty smart tactic.
What do you think about the?
We want to know now. We'd like to know right now.
Well, I don't think he's made up his mind yet. I really don't. I think it's a product, or it's in the works, but he just hasn't. And I think it's going to be happening when he is elected. I think he's going to do this also on every cabinet member this time, and that experience is going to play in to the team he has around him this time. It's not going to be the mistakes like Jeff Sessions again. I do want to ask you about, you were at the Trump rally at the Coliseum or the fairgrounds?
Yeah, I was, and I heard all your stuff on it in the first hour about that. And look, I don't usually go. I'm at that age where I probably don't really go to the state fair very much, but I guarantee you I'll be there this year probably more than once.
I don't think it's going to have that much of a bearing on the state fair.
No, but it was a great rally. There were hundreds of folks there. There were a lot of elected officials, and it was simply a deal to show support for President Trump and what he's been through. And look, this conviction has, if anything, strengthened his position. And they, some of the reports are that you've got within 72 hours, there were like $70 million of new donors, small money contributions. That is stunning. For that to happen.
And overall, about 200 million total, I think it was, or more.
Yeah,
and grown more than that now.
Yeah, that's right. But the key point is new donors, small dollar amounts being about 70 of that 200 million. That is, I think, a game changer. And Trump's in a great position. I really think it's his to lose now. But we've got to finish strong in this. We've got to have, the country can't handle 4 more years of Joe Biden or whoever it might be, and we've really got to put it together on this fall.
Do you feel like, I think a lot of people do, is the number one thing to do is find out how we can keep the integrity in the elections, especially in these key precincts, in the key red states, the swing states? That's going to be the game right there. How in the world do you stop illegal voting there?
You need to have
the election.
But part of it is the COVID rules allowed a lot of states where they just mailed ballots to every registered voter.
Yes.
Well, if you don't clean up your voter rolls, then you may get 3 or 4 ballots to the same address. Well, what's happening to those? And that creates a lot of problems there. But you need Republican observers on the ground at the key precincts on Election Day, and that will cut down on some of the shenanigans at that point. We got to win.
I saw where and I've had him on the air once, and looking forward to talking to him again, is Mike Hurst as the new GOP Mississippi chairman. And Mike has told me off the air and on the air, we talked about expanding the GOP and going after African Americans in the state and telling them, hey, you're welcome. And now's the perfect time to do that. And certainly, if the president, the former president is reelected, then I think it's going to be a whole new ballgame.
Yeah, and look, Mike Hurst is a great pick to be the chairman. He's somebody that's energetic. He'll do what needs to be done. And look, we want to get, I think what you'll see, whether it's in the Hispanic community or in the African American community, they know that they don't believe what Joe Biden believes. And their home economically and opportunity-wise is going to be with the Republican Party. And I think you'll see Trump do tremendously well across the board. It's going to be an exciting time, and stand by. It's going to be fun to watch.
It was interesting, though, and I had this a little bit earlier this morning, where AOC was talking about, my God, they may throw me in jail somewhere. I'm going to have to leave. If you broke the law and you're not being prosecuted, maybe so. But the shamefulness of this, just like Nancy Pelosi before, or what the heck, Sheck Taylor talking about integrity. These people, you said, they have no bounds of being embarrassed or shame. At the same time, she's talking about the lawlessness that Donald Trump will bring. During the term of Donald Trump, there was, how many political actors were arrested? 0. Under Biden, you had 460 Republican voters that are doing decades in prison for simple assault. Roger Stone's got 40 months in jail. Peter Navarro, 4 months in jail. Republican Steve Bannon's got 4 months in jail. Mark Meadows got arrested for contempt of Congress. Alex Jones is bankrupt. Democrats are trying to put the past Republican president behind bars. So they're talking about warning us that Donald Trump's going to be putting people in jail.
Oh my gosh, what they've done.
Hopefully these people get smart. Greg,
look, what they've done to abuse the system is just unconscionable. And let's face it, there are a lot of them on their side that have gotten away with stuff. We will have to go back and talk about Hillary Clinton bleaching her server.
Quickly, almost out of time here. Your name showed up on a possible governor's list. I'm getting an update on this one. Your remarks about that.
Well, I will just say that Mississippi is in a great position. We've got a very deep bench, and I'm confident that we'll have somebody that'll be able to carry forward what the great work that the governor's done, both Tate Reeves and Phil Bryant, Haley Barbour. So we're going to do a good job.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Always great.